Okay. Robert Bruce Goodwin, R.B. Goodwin, uh, was drafted into the army to fight the Germans in World War II. When he when he enlisted, he listed his name wrong and for reasons unknown, but the army called on to it and put his name in correctly. He R.B. Goodwin, Robert Bruce Goodwin, was a tank driver. He drove a Sherman tank, and he took part in the war with the Germans under Patton in North Africa. Then, after the North African campaign, he landed at Anzio and drove his Sherman tank then. And when he was on a convoy one time, he was the lead tank in a convoy driving down a road. And one story my dad remembers telling me is as he was driving the tank, a man, his wife, baby were in a wagon being pulled by a mule, and the mule stopped in the middle of the road, and my grandfather was ordered not to stop the tank, and he had to run over them, and that really upset my grandfather. 5 miles out of Rome, they had their tank hid in a grape vineyard, and a report came over the radio that there was a German Panzer tank spotted in the area, but no one knew where it was. My grandfather's tank commander said to move the tank out of the vineyard. My grandfather told the tank commander, told him, "Do you think we should really get out of this vineyard? We're hidden here. If we get out in the open, there has been a Panzer in the area." The tank commander looked at my grandfather and said, "Who's the tank commander? Get us out of this vineyard." They were not 20 feet out of the vineyard before the Panzer tank saw them, shot an 88 millimeter shell into my grandfather's tank. It exploded, caught the tank on fire. My grandfather's leg was broken. He had burns on him. His goggles on his face were melting to his face. He climbed out of the tank. There was a gentleman from Texas that was in the tank with him. He took off running, and my grandfather reached back to pull the tank commander out of the tank, and only half of him came up. He was blown in half and dead. They put my grandfather in an ambulance. He was in a stretcher on the bottom row, and the guy above him in a stretcher kept bleeding all over him, his blood dripping on him. He looked up, and it was a German tank driver from the tank that had blown his tank up. Their tank got hit after my grandfather got hit, and that's the last I heard of it. My grandfather's war was over at that point.
Yeah, he lived though, right? He
Oh,
was
yeah.
wounded. That was it though. Yep.
Mhm.